During the JFOL conference in the Netherlands, we spoke to many speakers and guests. This is part 1 of our review.
Welcome to the Foojay Podcast, all your news about OpenJDK.
A few months ago, I asked the JFOL organization team if a Foojay Broadcast Room would be a good idea, and they said yes. So suddenly I found myself in the middle of the entrance of the Pathé cinema in Ede with a camera and microphones. During the day I had a lot of exciting talks. There are way too many to fit in one podcast, so the following weeks you will get different episodes handling a lot of topics. This is part 1, and we talk about JFOL of course, but also about the evolutions in Java and how it's becoming the best cloud environment while keeping systems sustainable and reducing the ecological, financial and security impact of applications. Let's start early in the morning with Brian, one of the organizers.
Good morning. Yes, I'm doing great. I'm pumped up for JFOL this year. So yeah, good. Well, early morning, but yeah, we're there. But I've got my coffee.
Yeah,
right. So yeah,
I need it.
sure,
You're one of the organizers.
absolutely.
What's your role in NLJUG, JFOL?
Within the NL Jug, I am one of the board members. We have a board of 6. But for JFOL specifically, I am co-leading together with Bert-Jan Schrijver. We're co-leading the program committee. So pretty much me and Bert-Jan are in charge of who's coming into JFOL and making sure that everything is reviewed for the speakers. We had 455 CFP submissions, and we only have place for say 60.
Mhm.
So that was our job.
That's why you also start very early, because before the keynotes, there are already sessions going on.
Yeah. Before the keynote, we have our early bird sessions, and our early bird sessions are there for people that want to be in early because to beat traffic or that kind of stuff. And we already can have some interesting talks for them. And then pretty much at 9 a.m. we start with the official opening. But yeah, there are already sessions going on right now.
You're in the keynotes,
Yes, I am.
and it's in 30 minutes.
It's pretty much in 30 minutes. Yep.
Bit nervous?
No,
No.
I'm not nervous because I don't have anything useful to say, which sounds weird, but no, I do. I am there to do the opening,
Mhm.
to tell the things that people need to know for getting out and about here at JFOL. And after that, we have an actual technical keynote, which I can do, but we invited somebody else to do that. So I just say welcome to everybody and all the things that they need to know how JFOL works for first time users or how to vote for the sessions, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. How many people will be here today?
That's always a guess, but we sold out, which means we have about 1,800 attendees.
Whoa.
Yeah.
For 8 rooms in parallel.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of content to consume.
There's a lot of content to consume. It will also be that some rooms will be filled up and full if people are not there in time. But that is just what it is. But we have 9 consecutive. We have 9 parallel tracks. So yes, there's a lot of good topics, a lot of good speakers. So I'm pretty psyched for today.
Okay. Finish the coffee that you're pumped up for the keynote. Have fun.
Thanks, Frank.
And yeah, I think you will be walking around the whole day.
Absolutely. We will be taking care of small things that the people around here won't notice, and then I did my job well, right? So all right, see you later.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks. Cheers.
Bye.
Pratik Patel had a lot of info to share about how he looks at the evolutions of Java and how it's being used in all kinds of organizations.
My name is Pratik Patel. I lead the developer relations team at Azul Systems, a company that you may know.
Yeah,
So
because
Frank is actually my coworker. So
there's a lot of things happening in Java. What's the most important evolution?
yeah, it's a great question. Obviously, Java 21 just came out, right? So JDK 21, and there's loads of great language features in it. And one of the things that's been really nice over the last few years, in my opinion, is that we have been more quickly adding language features to the Java language over the last 3 to 5 years. Because if you remember, we made a gigantic leap when we went into Java 8 with lambdas, right? That was like a big thing, right? And then of course there wasn't really great backward compatibility between 8 and 9, 10, 11 because there's a bunch of stuff that changed. But for me, it's the pace of the language, getting new features, nice things like records, pattern matching, etc., that help developers write cleaner and better code. Because for me, I don't get paid by the number of lines of code I write. I get paid for writing quality software, just like everybody
Mhm.
else. So having that ability to have more expressive Java code, in my opinion, is the most important thing, because less code means there's less code to manage, less code to maintain, less code to migrate, easier to understand, all those kinds of things.
Mhm.
So
So you have this very fast evolution, a lot of new versions. How fast are people moving to these new versions?
yeah, that's a great question. So recently, the company that we work at, Azul Systems, we just released a state of Java survey, and Frank will drop a link in for
Mhm.
everybody so you can grab it. And one of the survey questions was, "What version of Java are you currently using?" Right. And what's interesting, and I found a little bit surprising, is the number of people that are on 11, Java 11 and 17. Obviously, the survey was just done very recently before the Java 21 came out, but there are very few people using 19, 20, 19 and 20.
Versus in between.
Um, but I was actually impressed by the number of folks who are on 11 and 17, because the migration path from 11 to 17 is actually, 11, 17 to 21 is actually very easy.
Mm.
Uh, but of course, it shouldn't surprise me, but it still does. How many people are still using Java 8 or Java 6?
How
Right?
old are these?
Yeah, I know, right? It's like I think Java 8 came out 15 years ago,
Yeah.
right? So it's a long time ago.
But
Um,
isn't that also a quality thing for Java? It's 15 years old, but it still runs.
yes, absolutely. This is one of the things when you talk to people in different developer communities, whether it's JavaScript, or Elixir or Python or whatever. The fact that Java 8 code or even Java 6 code, right? We have some customers at Azul who are still on an older version. Um, they're still running 6, and they don't really do much with those applications, but it still works. It's rock solid. You would probably be surprised uh, at who's still running old software like that. Things that you rely on,
Mhm.
like your bank or your insurance company or whatever. Some of these companies are still running very old versions of Java, and you're right. It's totally a testament to the deep thought that goes into the evolution of the Java language and ensuring backwards compatibility. And there's still bug
Mm.
fixes and stuff that come out for mostly security things now, for those older versions of Java. So definitely.
You said you are a bit surprised that not a lot of people are on 19 or 20. Is that because most companies stick to these long-term support versions?
Yeah, I think when I think of a typical Java shop, right? Of course, there are startups using Java to build stuff. There are medium-sized companies, and then large companies, and then very large companies like enterprises that are using Java. So I think for me, you see a lot of the smaller companies, startups, the mid-sized companies, are able to shift more quickly to newer versions of Java, and when I talk to just Java developers in general or Azul customers, what I find is that everyone has a certain level of risk that they're willing to absorb, because moving from 11 to 12 or 17 to 19 or whatever 18, there's a certain amount of risk that's
Mhm.
involved there, and on top of that there's a lot of work that needs to go in, right? So and we're maturing in this universe, in our Java universe. People are building stuff using CI and CD pipelines, so you have continuous integration, continuous testing. We're getting better every year in testing these different kinds of things, and we have tools that we didn't have even 5 years ago, like test containers, right? Test containers is a great tool. You can literally run integration type tests. Yes, you have your unit test, but now you get a much more confidence and able to catch bugs with these test container, semi integration test type of environments. So everything is improving. So I think the velocity at which people will upgrade from 17 to 18, or now from 20 or 17 to 21, whatever. I think the velocity of that and the number of people who do that will probably increase very quickly,
Mhm.
because we're, as a developer community, we are getting better at automating a lot of the things that introduce that risk into doing a JDK upgrade, right?
Mhm.
I mean, for most Java devs, it's like you just flip from 17 to 18 or 21, and it just works, right? But you still want to be careful, especially like, oh, I don't know, if you work for a large bank and you have these transactions going through it, which it's not just the back end for TikTok or something, right? It's
Yeah.
like actually something that customers will care very much if it's not correct. kind of thing. So
And probably it's a good idea for developers to really already start using newer versions, even if they don't use it in production,
yeah,
because they can experiment with new features, they can see the benefits, and
Yeah.
maybe then decide still to bump their production to a newer version because they're using some new methods which make their developer work
Yeah.
easier.
Yeah.
And then force it into production.
Yeah, actually, you have a really good point there, right? So if I'm a developer and I'm running on Java 17 today, I have two different options I can take, right? I can either go from 17 to 18 when 18 comes out, and then 18 to 19, etc. Or I can just say, you know what, I'm just going to wait until the next LTS version comes out. So the question that I ask myself and I ask other developers is, which path is more suited for your process? Because this is not a technology problem. This is more a process and
Yeah.
people problem, right? So if you have the CI pipeline built out and you have the ability to do these nice tests and you're doing those automated tests, then maybe taking those baby steps to the next LTS release is the right thing to do. Okay. Or if you're not so confident about, do you have everything tested, then you probably want to, say, okay, let's wait till the next LTS and really put some effort behind testing everything. Some of it has to be manual and things like that, right? So, and of course, there's other factors in there, which is what's the licensing look like, right? If I go from 17 to 18, how long is that 18 version supported? Right? Do I have to then, do I need to pay for support if I stay on 18 once 19 comes out? So there's a lot of factors that come in. And actually, we at Azul, we have a book called, help me out here, Dummy's Guide to OpenJDK Migration, which Frank will also drop a link in so that you can go have a look. And it explains in more detail about that kind of stuff. But the survey that I was referencing, the State of Java survey, it's also definitely worth looking at because it's interesting to see the different versions that everyone's using. And it's also interesting to see how many people are moving to the cloud or have moved their Java apps to the cloud. What big data platforms are they using? So one thing out of the big data thing that surprised me a little bit was I thought in my brain that like a lot more people were using Apache Kafka. But actually, yes, there are a lot of people using it, but it's not, the number wasn't nearly as high as I thought it was. I think it was, again, this is from memory, so I may be wrong, but it was like 30 to 40%. And by now, like every conference you go to, everyone is just talking about Kafka and event streaming, event sourcing and all that stuff. So I was like, oh, of course, at least half the companies out there are using it, but that's actually not the case. So, anyways, the survey is well worth reading because I think from my own point of view as a developer, it's nice to see what other people are using right now, and hey, am I really far behind the curve or am I ahead of the curve? Right, it helps me make decisions as a developer and a software architect. That you know what, it looks like a lot of people are like still using Elastic, and a lot of people are still using Kafka. Maybe I should put together a proposal for my own team and think about is there a fit for those products and what we're trying to build, especially if you're building next generation based architectures based on event streaming like with Kafka. So
as we learned from Pratik, Java is evolving fast for all kinds of use cases, including cloud applications. With Grace Jansen, I talked about the shift of Java to become a full cloud citizen.
My name is Grace Jansen, and I'm presenting at J4.
And what are you presenting?
Presenting on the challenges that we face as modern cloud-native Java developers and how things like platform engineering and internal developer platforms and portals can help with those challenges.
Okay, clouds. So is that something which matches with Java?
In terms of like the cloud infrastructure?
Is Java a good language for the clouds?
I would say originally, no.
No.
It was never designed with the cloud in mind.
Java, the cloud doesn't exist.
Well, exactly. Java is older than I am. So like there definitely wasn't a cloud at this point. You know what I mean? So originally, no. But I would say thanks to the continued efforts of the sort of stewards and community and contributors to the Java ecosystem, it's getting there. I'm not going to say it's perfect because I don't think any language is perfect for the cloud because it's continuously evolving. But it's definitely in a much better place. And we have the tools and the infrastructure and the technologies to be able to help more traditional Java apps get to the cloud.
And what has changed in Java that made it better for the cloud?
I think the the features within Java themselves, firstly, but secondly, the supporting tools and technologies and projects that enable those Java apps to be able to modernize, to be able to migrate, and to be able to be effectively deployed on the cloud. So being able it's not just a, we fix the language and everything else falls into place. It takes a whole ecosystem of projects and tools, whether that be open source or proprietary, to support those applications to be able to get them to the cloud. So I think it's a mixture of evolution in the language itself and evolution in the supporting ecosystem around it.
And there are more changes coming to Java.
Yeah.
Some specific things you're looking forward to?
So I really want to try out more around Project Loom. I'm quite interested in sort of the threading there. I haven't had much of a chance to play around with it yet, but hopefully maybe I'll get to have a play around soon, maybe make a demo or something. That would be quite fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you summarize your talk in 2 sentences for us now?
Okay. We face a lot of challenges as cloud native developers. And in order to support us going forward as we develop cloud native apps, we need to be considering how we can do a developer first infrastructure approach. And IDPs, internal developer platforms, and platform engineering might just be something you'd want to consider for that.
And what is an internal platform? What is it?
So the clue's in the name. So I say IDP. We're in technology. We just love acronyms. You might use IDP to describe internal developer portal, which is sort of the face that you'd interact with the UI. But internal developer platform is all about designing an internal, so internally facing, not anything like, you might be familiar with external developer platforms like Twilio's developer platform. We're not talking about external facing, mostly internal for the organization. Developer, because we're really focused on the development of the apps, what are developers now responsible for? And platform, because this is really the approach we're taking to be able to provide a single space, a platform, to be able to utilize it to effectively build and deploy and maintain and manage our apps.
So you have this separation of development and then operation, run it in the cloud. Then DevOps is the merge of it. How responsible should the developer be about where his stuff is running?
So there's always a balance, right? And that balance is, I would say, very specific to each organization, because where I think platform engineering comes in is instead of having a dev team and an ops team and you're throwing stuff over the fence and you don't care about it, or the opposite end where you've got ops focusing on really innovative, Kubernetes focused sort of responsibilities, and development taking on more and more and more of the ops, starting to get more towards that DevOps. Where platform engineering comes in and enables you to have a team, a platform engineering team, to take responsibilities off both, off ops and off dev, to be able to provide a standardized set of tools, of build scripts, of code, like infrastructure as code, for example, so that your developers can focus on their applications. Your ops can focus really on sort of the operation side of things. So maybe billing, for example, or sort of the underlying hardware as an example. And your platform engineering can really do the stuff in between. So it should hopefully be better for both.
Okay. And then we have already talked about this a few times, is FinOps,
Yep.
the financial aspect, and the EcoOps.
Yep. There's so many ML ops.
What is that?
ML for machine learning.
Machine learning, okay.
GitOps.
They already have
DevOps.
ops? Okay.
There's like an endless amount of ops.
But how important is the cost in that thing?
So cost is always going to be a major factor, I would say. It's not necessarily something that all developers think in the forefront of their mind, am I deploying in a cost-effective manner? Because we like to innovate, we like to do fun stuff. We're not necessarily thinking about what some consider
The price.
the boring price aspect. But at the end of the day, most of us work for organizations that need to reach a bottom line. And so cost is a major factor. Even if you're working for something like a charity or an NGO, cost is still a factor because you have a limited budget to be able to get stuff done. So it really plays a key role in terms of what we should be thinking about going forward. And I think there's a lot that we can do in development that we don't necessarily think of to be able to reduce those costs, like tweaking the way that we're running our JVM, for example, or are we enabling as effective as we can in our code in terms of the number of lines that we're running or the way in which we're building our application. So I think there's lots of steps we can take. It's just about bringing that to the forefront of developers' awareness and minds so that they're thinking about that as they develop the application.
Yeah, it's something we already discussed. currently there's no way to know how much energy your application is consuming,
Yeah.
which is also a critical factor in cost and profitability. Okay, very interesting topic. I like to invite you for one of the next podcasts for a long.
That would be
for a long
great fun.
time.
I would
Okay.
love it.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thanks so much
Have
for
fun
having me.
here at JFall. Thank you.
Sustainability and cost management are hot topics nowadays. And it's a topic I also discussed with the following guests: Mark van der Walle, co-Turk, and Ionut Balosin.
My name is Mark van Walle. I'm a software architect at Society Netherlands. So what brings me to JFall? Well, I've been here for many years, and it's not only about the sessions, but it's meeting people I've met every year at clients, at other conferences. So it's the Java community vibe, learning new things and meeting colleagues and friends.
Okay, and what is your expertise in Java?
So mostly I do Java modernization on cloud native platforms, and what I'm trying to do mostly is being more efficient. So we tend to, as an industry, just scale it up, more hardware, and that costs a lot of money, and it's also not that good for our environment. So I'm trying to actually bring that down. So more efficient Java, but also doing smarter things, using less resources, and thus, benefiting the planet.
People call it FinOps. People also call it EcoOps, I've heard.
Yeah. So I think the most of the time, if you reduce your cloud spend or with less resources, so it's either good for your wallet and for the environment. So it's sort of a benefits both ways.
There is a story, I think, of Basecamp, an American company who moved everything away from the cloud and went to their own hardware. Is that more efficient? Does it cost less, more? What do you think?
Okay, then I will give my architect answer, and I will say it depends. I don't know the exact case, and I think every company needs to make that choice for themselves. But what you get is, I'm not sure if they use green energy in their own environments, and do they have the ability to, let's say, use less hardware, because that's what you get. You have to use your own hardware, and with clouds, you're not using your own hardware, and if you use less, that hardware can be used by someone else. So yeah, I'm not sure if I think it's financially perhaps a better move, but environmentally, not sure if that's the right choice to do.
And I think it's, as you said, it depends.
Yeah, indeed.
If you need to be able to scale up very fast, then
you need hardware.
Yeah.
If you then scale down, you have that hardware in abundance. That's yours. You have to sell it or something, and that's I think the benefit of the cloud. If you're careful with it, and I need to scale up fast, then it's there. And if you don't need it anymore, you're not sort of owning hardware that you don't use.
Yeah. There was a talk at J Spring by Holly Cummins.
Yeah.
She had some very good arguments that I think 25% of cloud servers is doing nothing or not enough.
It's even worse. So I think the reports it was 21% last year, and the forecast for this year is so cloud spend has risen by a lot, but also the waste has risen to 28%. So we're doing more, but also we're still not doing it more efficiently. And she actually coined a very interesting phrase that I love, which is light switch operations. Is that so? If you're not afraid to turn it off, or because turning it on is easy, then you're not too much afraid to turn it off. And I really like that, and I'm a real big fan of that movement. Is that, hey, make it easy to turn it on, so you're actually going to turn it off.
Yeah, because I know the feeling. It's very easy to start up an extra server and make it big enough. You don't want to be the person that kills an application or your company because the server is not big enough or not well dimensioned.
Yeah, indeed.
So take also the next one.
Yeah, indeed.
And that's a difficult decision, I think.
It's really difficult, but we as an industry needs to start moving in that direction. And Java, let's say big Java applications notoriously are sort of, okay, we're keeping our fingers crossed if it starts up with the big application servers and all the enterprise Java beans on that. And right now with cloud and smaller services, yeah, if one service fails, okay, most of the services are running, and we can make it smaller. And so, yeah, the architecture of that is also something that we need to keep in mind.
And a challenge.
And a real big and complex challenge.
You're not speaking today, but what sessions are you looking forward to?
So I haven't looked at the timetable that much.
There's too much choice.
I usually do it not last minute, but it's like I'm looking roughly. So I'm now going to the next one is by Grace Jansen. So it is about the complexity of cloud native development. So we need to know, well, way more than we needed 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I think she's going into that, well, that conundrum.
Okay. Thanks for this small talk, and have fun today.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Turk. I'm a Java developer at Bluefire IT. All in blue now. And I have an assignment at Rabobank, developing there, transferring money and that kind of thing. So I really love it also there. And what brings me to JFA? I'm going to speak about sustainability. That's one. And I think JFA is an also conference, and everybody should go there. I think every developer, Java developer. Yeah.
You're talking about sustainability.
Yeah.
How, in what matter? The amount of servers that you're using, the code that you're producing. What is important in your talk?
Yeah, we have 4 views. So we are looking at the GVM side. How can you measure your own GVM with your application in it? And we also measuring code quality. Is your code good enough, or is it sustainable? We look at architecture. There are some architecture decisions that can help you, like Maven caching and that kind of things. It's pretty nice also. It's improving also your speed, your build time. And also we look at a little bit of the web front end there. So different angles.
Different angles. I just had a chat about keeping your cloud costs under control.
Yeah.
Is that also something which is important in this topic?
Yeah, you can go serverless, of course. So using Lambdas or that kind of things. So if you're in the cloud, just only use that one, what you only need, auto scale and that kind of thing. So those are things that are really important. Pipelines only run it on certain times, and and less is possible. Yeah, that's less is more.
And all the talks will be online soon, so people can still visit it.
Yeah, I hope
see
so.
it if they're not here.
Yeah.
As a speaker, are you also going to other sessions?
Yeah, I try to, but JFall is also a kind of reunion for me. So I see a lot of people again. It's also a great network opportunity. And that's really what I like about JFall, the high quality talks also. And the early birds also. So you need to be at 8 o'clock and you already have good sessions. And you have front row. And it's all kind of things. It's like learning, meeting people, everything. Yeah.
And it's a friendly community.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
it's the Java community, also the Foojay community. What is in Java that you really love about the language, the framework, the system?
Yeah, different things. I think the most important thing is, I think, the community itself. Everybody is willing to help you, and there are a lot of samples. And if you have a question, you can just go to the speakers and ask, hey, can you help me? And they help you. And also in my daily job, I'm a consultant. So if I have a question and I don't know, nobody knows, I just go to the speaker or to the source. And that's what I mostly love about Java. It's the community itself that matters. And also, I love the language, of course. And it's a good language. They are continuously improving. Like they're seeing things, possibilities, like less boilerplate and that kind of things, future threats. And it's evolving. So that's nice. Yeah.
And there's a lot of evolvement going on in the Java system itself.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So you're a consultant.
Yeah.
That means that you're each time on a project for a short time.
Yeah, I'm now at the assignment at the Rabobank for a very long time, but I have different projects there. So every time you have a different team or a different project, kind of, mostly. And you do different stuff, sometimes with Java and then another JVM language. And then, it's like, what I like is just to do the short projects, kind of.
Yeah,
and that's
because I've never done consultancy, so I think that's a complete other mindset than being fixed at a company.
Yeah,
you have to be able to switch very fast, I think.
Yeah, now I'm very long at the assignment, but different projects. What I said, but yeah, you need to be a step further than the rest. So you need to go to conferences like this to learn new things. What's upcoming? AI is upcoming. Sustainability is one thing. You need to know about all kind of GVM things, Graal VM, and many more. So you need to keep up to date, and that's definitely as a consultant, I think. Yeah.
And you're at the right place
Yeah. Thank
to
you.
learn about that. Okay, thanks a lot for joining our interviews and being in the Foojay podcast.
Yeah.
And have fun
Thank you very
today.
much. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you.
My name is Balosin. I came from Vienna, from Austria. And what brings me to JFall, I think we prepared a talk on sustainability, on green engineering. And we would like to share it with the people. And that would be really cool because here the people, it's so keen on eco, on being eco and being more eco-friendly.
Yeah, because this is the third interview where sustainability is a topic. So what's your point of view on this matter?
Yes. So I think based on what I studied and the research on the market, at least from a software perspective, we are still in the beginning. We don't have proper tools to accurate measure the energy consumption. I mean, software tools, you can measure the energy consumption with a wall power meter for the full box, but at least available software, there are quite a few on the market, and some of them are limited to only some hardware. Like, for example, Intel chipset is the one which allows you to measure partially the energy consumption for the CPU and the memory. But if your application it's network or IO intensive, you cannot do that. So I think from a software perspective, we are still really scratching a bit the subject.
There was a talk at J Spring with Holly Cummins, which exactly this topic and how difficult it is to really know the impact of your application on energy usage.
Correct. Yeah, because we did a lot of measurements. Yeah, we took custom off-the-shelf applications, like for example, Spring Boot ones, Quarkus-based ones. We took like a benchmark suite, and we assessed different JVMs. And we said, okay, let's see which JVM consumes or it's more efficient within the same specifications. I mean, we didn't change any JVM parameter. And of course, everything behaves differently based on the from application to application. Yeah. So it's very hard to quantify and to reach a conclusion which JVM is more eco-friendly. But it's interesting to assess at least and to have an idea how to quantify that. But as said, currently the software is really limited on this area.
You're comparing GVMs. Are you comparing versions or distributions or?
Correct. We are comparing the same version, the same JDK version across different distributions.
And do you see big differences there?
Yes, we see some big differences. Yes.
Because I also have a talk this afternoon and a bit about what is the difference between versions, updates, distributions.
Yeah.
They all should behave the same because they're all TCK compliant.
Yes.
But that means that there is a different implementation in there.
Correct, which makes the difference actually. Yeah, exactly. What I can tell it's that the hotspot based ones are pretty much equal, more or less. Yeah, which means the you know the hotspot. Yeah, the native image depends on the use case, but it's if you have it for shorter periods of time, which means half an hour, it's much more efficient than all the others. But we also did something. We also did measure the build time, how much energy you consume on the build time, because to have a full comparison, you also need to understand the build time, yeah, because you also pay energy for the build time. And therefore, the build time, you build it once, of course, but it has a bigger impact on the native image. Yeah, all in all, it's different from JVM and to JVM. This makes a difference. I think that the runtime makes a huge difference. The compiler, the default GC makes a difference for sure.
Okay. So you're a speaker, means you're walking around also the whole day here. Will you be joining other sessions? Did you select some?
Some sessions attract my eyes. I probably attend 2 or 3. Yeah. I usually attend after my talk because I'm more relaxed. before my talk, I'm a bit cautious, yeah, because staying too much focus gets me very tired for my session.
Yeah.
But this is just for myself. It's my way of being. Yeah, it's not valid for others.
And what time is your session?
It's around 2.
Okay, so you still have some time, a few
Yes.
hours. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nice that we see all the names here on the list
Oh yeah, that's
behind us. Okay, thanks for this talk. Thanks for
you.
joining our Foojay podcast.
Thank you so
And
much.
have fun with your session.
Thank you so much.
you.
Thank you.
Next to sustainability, an extra challenge in cloud environments is the management of secrets and keys. And that's precisely the topic Deepu was talking about at JFall.
I'm Deepu Sasidharan. I'm a developer advocate at Okta. So I have a talk about Passkeys for Java developers today. And also we have a booth, so I'm also participating in the booth.
So you're also a salesperson today.
Not trying to sell per se. I haven't made any sales yet. But yeah, trying to educate developers and do some evangelism.
Can you summarize your talk that you're giving into 2 sentences? Or maybe even more?
So we need a passwordless future. Passwords are a huge problem for us. So we need passkeys now and we need adoption now. So that's all the talk.
And are there tools to make this easier?
There are services and products to make it easier. And me working for Okta, we also have services to make it better. So I'll be doing some demonstrations, talking about tools and libraries to use to make it easier and show also how to build it yourself.
So what can you simplify is, for instance, the passwords for your databases, things like that, that you need in your application. Is that the kind of stuff you want to simplify and optimize?
Yeah. So passwords are a huge problem, right? So they are a problem for the end user because you have to remember things. You can be social engineered to divulge your passwords. It can be breached. It can be remotely attacked. So it's a lot of a list of problems. But when it comes to passkeys, it is a cryptographic key pair, right? And only a public key gets sent to your whatever database your websites are using, right? And if anyone breaches those, you are not going to be able to do anything with public key. So much more safer, and passkeys are phishing resistant. It's much more convenient to use because you're going to use your existing biometric platform authenticators or some hardware authenticators and stuff like that. So it's more convenient than remembering and using password managers and all those things. It is much more secure, and I think it is the next step in our authentication game for us to evolve into a passwordless society.
Passwords are very critical, so I think the whole structure to maintain this is very complex.
So passkeys should make it simpler because currently with passwords there are a lot of things you need to do, like managing resets or securing those passwords. A lot of things. You need multi-factor authentication. There's a lot of infrastructure that needs to be done to make it secure and make it convenient. With passkeys, you don't have to do a lot of things. They are recoverable by design, and they are phishing resistant and secure by design. So you don't have to do all these by yourself in every website that you're using, right? So it will simplify things. It will make the infrastructure simpler. It will reduce costs for the people building websites and maintaining those. And overall, it should be a good thing for the end users as well as the folks building websites.
Okay, I've seen you already a few times at conferences. What other topics are you talking about?
So being a polyglot developer, I think I talk mostly about Java and maybe followed by Rust and a little bit of Kubernetes here and there. A lot about JHipster because I'm also the co-lead of JHipster, so I do go and talk that a lot. But lately, I have been doing a lot of Java core talks, like Project Loom talks, new feature talks, and stuff like that. And now I'm doing an identity talk. So this is my first identity talk. So far, I have been focusing on language-related talks. So this is my first non-language-related like, identity and authentication, security-related talks. So I'm quite looking forward.
You're a polyglot developer, so you're using different languages. Is Java the best one?
I'm a honest developer, and I think anyone who knows me knows that I love Rust the most. Maybe followed by Java, but yeah, I give all of them judgment based on what they do. So my favorite definitely is Rust because of the developer experience of that, followed by Java.
Okay.
Java used to be my favorite until Rust
Okay.
came.
So, and the big difference is for you, the developer experience.
Developer experience, the fact that in Rust, I don't have to worry about a lot of things that I have to worry in other languages. Like, for example, the security aspects, the garbage collection. There's no garbage collection. The memory management aspect of Rust, I really love it. I love that I can write a Rust code in any way I want. I don't have to worry about performance. Whereas in every other language, including Java, depending on the style of code that you write, your performance is going to vary. Functional is going to have less performance than imperative code, but in Rust you can do whatever and it's going to be the same. So I love these kind of things. And these are the things I would love for Java to have, and these are the things I advocate for Java to have as well wherever I go.
And do you think that a lot of these things will come to Java?
Hopefully, eventually, but we know that the process is a bit slower here. But I hope eventually it comes around, because we are already seeing some nice features like pattern matching and stuff coming to Java. So I really hope all these kind of features from other modern languages, gets adopted and gets implemented in such a stable language as Java. Because the reason I love Java is the stability of the ecosystem and the fact that you can build something today and you can probably run it for 20 years. So that is quite unique, I would say. So I like that aspect. And if we also have modern features, better developer experience, then it will be a killer combination.
I think you said Java's evolving a bit slow, but actually that's the reason it's stable, because every change is really well designed to make sure that we have backwards compatibility.
Yeah, but at some point it also starts to feel like a burden, right? That backward compatibility. Maybe at some point we should just break support and evolve like a one version break. It's nice, but I think at some point it also starts to become a baggage.
Yeah, but boring is good, eh?
Boring is good. I think in practice it is good, but not so much fun.
Okay, good.
We also need some fun.
I think people are coming for coffee. A lot of noise here. Thanks a lot for being here.
Thank you.
And hope to have you in one of the next podcasts again. Thank you.
This was part 1 of my JFall review. In the following part, next week, you'll learn more about how you can leave a legacy, prevent a burnout, what the IKEA effect is, and a lot more. Keep an eye on Foojay for future articles about development and everything related to the Java world. Thanks for listening.
Give me a Foo, give me a J, give me the friends of OpenJDK.